thought we should have a review.
Thank you.
Since not all of you were here for the original Eclipse lecture.
We talked about the phases of the moon and how that relates to the moon's orbit around the Earth. It might be helpful to watch that video first. To put things in perspective, here's the relative size of the Sun, the Moon, and the Earth. The Sun is about 400 times bigger than the Moon. Now let's look at the actual distances between them. The Sun is also about 400 times further from the Earth than the Moon is. This is why the Sun and the Moon appear to be about the same size in the sky. So now you know that the animations on screen are not always drawn to scale. The Moon's orbit is actually not a perfect circle. It's in the shape of an ellipse. When it's closest to the Earth, we call it perigee. When it's farthest away from the Earth, we call it apogee. It's only a small difference, but it's enough to cause the Moon to grow and shrink as seen from the Earth. Okay, now we get into some rare events with the Moon. Each time a new moon happens, there's a chance that the Moon will block the sunlight and cause a shadow to appear in a portion of the Earth. When this happens, it's called a solar eclipse. The reverse can also happen. Each time we have a full moon, there's a chance that the Earth will block the sunlight from reaching the Moon. We call this a lunar eclipse. So now the question is, why don't we get a solar eclipse and a lunar eclipse every month? As the Earth orbits around the Sun, we can map out a 2D plane that's referred to as the ecliptic. The Moon doesn't orbit on the same plane. It's tilted by about 5 degrees. This means that most of the time, the Moon passes above or below the Sun as seen from the Earth. We can map out 2 invisible points in space at which the Moon's orbit crosses the ecliptic. We call these the lunar nodes. When they line up with the Sun, Earth, and Moon, that's when a solar eclipse or lunar eclipse will occur. This is referred to as an eclipse season. These happen about twice a year. During an eclipse season, there's no guarantee that you'll be able to see anything. In the case of a solar eclipse, the Moon may pass slightly above or below the Sun and give us a partial solar eclipse. This won't really dim the sunlight enough for us to see it. When the Moon entirely crosses the Sun, we will be able to see it. If the Moon is closer to apogee, then it will appear smaller and we'll get what's called an annular solar eclipse. If the Moon is closer to perigee, then it will appear bigger and we'll get what's called a total solar eclipse.
Whoa, is that what
Even
we're getting?
if you're lucky enough to be on the right spot on the Earth, the longest you'll be able to see a solar eclipse is about 7 minutes. You'll need to be under the umbra, which is the darkest part of the Moon's shadow.
The areola.
For a lunar eclipse, the Earth is the one casting the shadow. We may see a partial lunar eclipse or a total lunar eclipse. This can be seen from anywhere on Earth where it's night and will last for several hours. For about an hour, the Moon will appear red because of the sunlight bending around the Earth. This is where the term blood moon comes from. So next time someone says the words solar eclipse or lunar eclipse, you could explain it to them, or you could just send them a link to this video. I'm Jared Owen. Thank you for watching.
People love having long explanations.
What's that?
People love it when you give them a long explanation of something they're telling you about.
Is it clear?
Clear enough.
I think
15
he's
years
wrong
in
about
the
the
spotlight
relative
still.
sizes, but it's not really
Oh,
that
yeah?
important. I think the Sun is much more than 400 times the size of the Moon.
He's
but-
talking diameter, I think.
Yeah,
That's
he
the
might have
only
been
reason.
talking in one dimension.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
Something.
rather than volume.
yeah, it's just, that's, but sure,
Yeah.
close enough.
And even then it would have to be relative diameter if it's also the same, it's also 400 times farther away, right?
Yeah, that's the other thing, those are two different
Like from our vantage
dimensions,
point, it would
right?
appear 400 times.
Because
Well, that doesn't make
distance
sense.
changes things in 2 dimensions
Yeah.
and volume is in 3 dimensions, so.
And nobody has a tape measure that big.
Yeah.
It's all speculation.
Look, it's the chart of Trump's first day back from vacation.
The more I study this chart, the better I like it. It really is a good chart, and I think a great omen of things to come. Although it is set up for aurora, and of course, the houses change relative to where you are on the planet. So right here is the absolute best place, and by here I mean within a 5-mile radius. You know, it's not gonna change that much at charts. Emphasized in this chart is really the greater benefic, which will be exactly rising right at the moment of the eclipse, which is really cool because that makes it the strongest force, really. And it is overcome by the ruler of the sign rising, Venus, which is on the midheaven. So the benefics are in strong aspect to each other, one exactly on the ascendant and the other exactly on the midheaven, and in mutual reception, because Jupiter is exalted in Cancer and Venus, it rules Libra. So this is an incredibly powerful, good sign. The meaning of eclipse, I mean, you really can't take the hype all that seriously in terms of it being the great American eclipse. I mean, it's the most visible eclipse in America for, what did they say, 100 and some years? I don't know. But it's not necessarily all that much more powerful than any other eclipse. And it really, like he says, it's more about the eclipse seasons. And of course, where you are personally in relation to it. So, but as an event itself, it can, I think, oftentimes describe a big change in a whole period, because there are these eclipse seasons. So if, say, it hits your particular chart, the next time there's an eclipse in that same season, you'll get a very similar result. And if it's an extremely powerful hit, then it can demarcate major chapters in your life, as it does in mine. Now, in this, as in so many matters, am very unusual, because I have a full moon on that Leo Aquarius axis. So anytime you get an eclipse in Leo, or the eclipse season is in Leo, then it sets off that axis in my chart, which is the central issue around which everything evolves. And there are very, very clear things that have happened during those periods that have marked huge changes, particularly in my relationship with the great lights that I have now. I always change who I worship. It seems like during, not instantly, but it's a big shift from having one person that I'm essentially revolving around or focused on in terms of a means by which I can get spiritual food, and then that shifts, and I no longer am around that person. I have always adopted someone else, except during the last one, the 1999 one, was when I essentially began to stop doing that. But that was like 18 years ago, so what's gonna happen this time? I don't know.
Sufi master,
What's that?
a Sufi master.
You may get your first true student.
Hmm. I had it real clear what was gonna happen an hour or two ago, but I've forgotten now.
Weren't you saying something about this year you were gonna be like enlightened?
I thought I was that years ago.
I think you just say that every year, don't you?
We did mine. I wasn't gonna really do mine
Oh,
so much.
Who you moved on to?
Well, I was gonna do more of the chart as a whole for one thing, and just the odd and unusual things about it. We can go back over me.
No, that's
But I haven't sorted it out. Now that I've decided that it indicates something truly profound and also decipherable, then you get just a little bit into it and you realize, oh, it's more complicated than I thought. Yes, it's still decipherable, but it's more complicated, and I realize, oh, this needs more study. But this chart in and of itself is interesting because you've got this thing with the two benefics on the angles that are in also in connection to the nodes, the eclipse point. At least Jupiter is. Jupiter is in this kind of kite thing where there is this grand trine here between the eclipse point, Uranus, which has stopped. It's turned stationary and is getting ready to go backwards. Saturn, which has stopped and has quit going backwards and is going to go forward. They're both at the point where retrograde changes relative to the sun.
They're gonna do it at the same time.
So they're both moving very, very slow and in trine to the eclipse point. So there's a support both from the forces of order and reason and structure and the forces of rebellion, revolution, and explosion. So for some reason there is this magic point of balance where now there's an eclipse, and an eclipse basically, when it's with the north node, it's an indication of something unnatural or not accounted for in natural law having a space to come in. Like in the Gurdjieff system, it would be like the third stop ender or whatever, this gap where something unexpected can come in. And that point is in this grand trine with the two most troublesome planets. So it's got to be good, especially with Jupiter exactly sextiling Mars, bonifying Mars, bonifying Saturn, being bonified and bonifying Venus. Mars is occulted. It's for a day or two we're going to forget about hatred and just focus on this weird phenomenon of light that's happening where something in the sky is going to cause us all to stop for a minute and something new is going to come in, and there's and the fact that the whole place is about to burn up. We're gonna hope that doesn't happen.
Because Mars doesn't share any aspects as other things.
Well, Mars is under the beams,
Oh, it is.
right? It is occulted by the sun's light, But, of course, during the eclipse, it's going to be visible. All those, Jupiter, well, not Jupiter probably, because it's just coming up over the horizon, but Venus, Mars, and Mercury all should be clearly visible. When they're under the beams, they're so close to the sun that generally you can't see them. Uranus is squaring Venus, which is, sudden and short, oftentimes, in terms of Venetian energies. It's dangerous. I hate that aspect, actually. But, it's you got to have some bad things. The worst thing, of course, is this delusional aspect between Mercury, which, though it is highly dignified, is stopped and gone retrograde. I think it stopped on my birthday, and now it's going retrograde, and it's going to retrograde back to the node point where it will meet Mars before it goes forward again. So there's some weird thing happening with communication and delusion and hatred, I suspect. And maybe just what's been happening is a good description of it. These weird communications about hate that are just very confusing in certain ways.
So Mars moves forward to the node point when Mercury meets it, and
yeah.
then Mercury goes.
And then it goes direct and separates again from Mars at the node point. Yeah, it's very odd and unusual. Also, this square between Uranus and Pluto is fairly wide at this point, and Jupiter is bonifying Pluto. So I think the plutocrats are going to feel great benevolence and stop being so mean.
No more hubris.
No more invading other countries
Okay.
and bombing people.
Nice.
I think that's the most important aspects of it. So now, what I will do, if you guys are into it. Oh, now here is the lunar eclipse then, and it more affects me because this is the axis of the sun and the moon when I was born, almost in the same place. So but also it has Jupiter rising, so it's all going to be good.
Okay, that's the lunar eclipse, you said?
That's the lunar eclipse, which was it didn't get near the press. It didn't call it the greatest eclipse ever.
So that's, whoops.
And it was only partial and it was not visible. But the fact is, it was much more connected with me.
Partial. And
But if an event begins at a particular moment, usually it's very hard in the moment to know what it is that's begun. It's only in retrospect that you can look back and say, oh my God, right then something changed that then spun out in this weird way. But you can't really recognize it, or it's very hard to recognize it in the moment. Now, if you expand it to the eclipse season, because like we were talking, there are when the nodes are in a particular sign, and then the season the sun is in that sign of the season, then it's an eclipse season. You can get more than one eclipse right during that time, just like the lunar eclipse happened just before this solar eclipse. And there's another one coming in February, I think. The fact is they're going to happen again next year because the nodes won't be out of Leo yet, I think. Okay, who's this? Oh, that's the lunar eclipse. Oh, this was the eclipse in 1999.
1947.
What's that?
It says 1947.
1947 is outside of it.
Oh.
It's the 11th of August, 1999. About 3 days into the China trip when I was up on a mountain. There was this incredible electrical storm in my home. My whole life was about to change in ways that I had no way of knowing. But you could see it was this huge grand cross, you know, the ship was going to change. That's how. Okay, here's Derek's.
Whoa, that's a funny shape.
It sure
It's
is.
like dagger in the thing.
Yep.
Like a bow and arrow. Dagger in the triangle.
I can't do too much with this chart because it's the first time I've seen it. But at least we can say how the eclipse will affect it if at all. The eclipse is on the outside, except the moon's not quite in the right place because you can only set it up for the day. But you can see where it is that it hits the chart.
Right, the eclipse you said was on the outside. Outside range.
Yeah.
Like mine again.
So it's here, so you want to look for any ways it's going to impact things square or opposite, or if it's going to be on any of the angles. So it's not on any of the angles, and it is only square Jupiter. So Jupiter, and that within 4 degrees. So this that's good. That'll activate that Jupiter. That'll bring good things, I think.
Whose
But
is
that's
this?
the only thing that it really hits, really.
Well, except also it's a replication of Libra rising.
Well, here it is. You got to realize Libra's only going to be rising here in London and New York, other places. At the moment of the eclipse, there'll be a different sign rising.
Right,
But
but,
I'm here.
but he'll be.
But if he's here, then it
You're gonna go to
replicates.
London tomorrow?
It replicates his rising sign. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And puts Jupiter rising as well, so it will have a double benevolent kick. It's got to.
Double benevolent.
Oh, I like that. That's good. Go out. What's his
Yeah, what's
birthday?
below there too? We can't see.
Where was he born? 88 in Portland.
Yeah.
And then there's a sextile with
88. Jesus.
Mercury.
Are you old enough to be out past
Right,
10?
and he's got a Mercury-Venus
Oh,
conjunction. Mercury-Venus-Sun conjunction.
88, we're not.
He
That's not.
he has just before the new moon with a stellium of the Sun, Venus, Mercury, and Chiron all together in the ninth.
Well, yeah, Mercury and Venus are combust the Sun.
Mhm.
Now Mercury, because it's in its
Opposed
own sign, is in its chariot, so it isn't harmed by the sun. It's helped even,
That's right.
but it is retrograde. The fact that it's with, damn, they're all in the same degree.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Venus is definitely totally burned up.
Oh, you're fucked.
Oh yeah, it's in the
Don't-
same degree.
Don't,
Yeah.
don't have anything to do with any kind of sexual activity of any sort.
Good advice. Wait, like ever or right now?
He's talking your natal
Just
chart.
move on.
Move on. Oh, man.
Take refuge in God. Jupiter is very strong.
That didn't work either.
Go on a pilgrimage and find a teacher. Some old man to teach you the hidden arts.
Oh, man.
Have you done many pilgrimages?
Just one.
That definitely, that would work. But avoid anyone that you're at all attracted to.
What time frame are we talking about here?
This is forever, that's
You can get into the Time Lords.
Oh, so mean. Let me tell you, you don't escape it either.
Well, I mean,
They help each other
but for
out.
all we know, it's Kazemi. The Venus could well be in the seat, the lap of the sun.
Isn't that Kazami?
Kazami, yeah.
'Cause-
It's within 10 minutes.
See me, 'cause you
It's
say
it's within 10
I say
minutes. And
Kazami,
so
let's go.
Well, it's
over.
perfectly conjunct, so it could
it's
be.
perfectly conducted, so I think it is Kazami.
Yeah,
Right.
but that's only if it's on the ecliptic, right?
Well,
Because otherwise it's. I mean, this was Erica's and I chart was Venus was totally combust, and it wasn't on the ecliptic. It wasn't Kazami.
This
was
is what that woman
Kazami.
told you on
Howie.
Facebook. That was outside my scope. I didn't know about
Yeah, it's
it.
like because even though like a planet can be conjunct the sun, if it's above or below the ecliptic, it's not really aligned with the sun.
Yeah.
Even though it's on the
It's not parallel,
right.
yeah.
So we would have to find out.
I should probably find that out.
You should find that.
Although, is that the technical definition of Kazami?
what is Kazami?
Kazami is when there is such a close conjunction that the sun doesn't harm the planet, but in fact, it's like a clear
It's like a
channel
bullseye.
for a much higher kind of energy.
That's what they say.
Either
in
that or you
Vedic.
go mad.
I
One of the
think
two.
They do that in Vedic astrology where things are like so good they're bad.
Yeah.
They're so
And
bad
they're
this
good.
is so bad they're good.
Wow.
Do you hear that a lot?
Oh
You
no.
tell us, is your Venus Kazami or is it totally combust?
Say Kazama.
Sure. That one.
Oh, shoot.
It's all about
I
positive thinking.
mine.
What's
I'm just kidding,
that?
I do. Just making a joke.
I think you're the next one.
I think so. Kapowie, we always
There I
Batman
am.
words now.
Yeah.
Kazam. Oh, that's a Kazami right
Where were you
there.
born, Allison? Go
See
back
Anna
home.
Square.
Santa Ana.
Oh, I see a cross.
See, so what you need to,
It's based on your natal chart.
yeah, it's based on, see, the eclipse is on the outside.
Yeah.
And I think you're fairly well
Fine and-
protected. You don't have anything anything bad that it's hitting.
That's
Saturn
no
is
fun.
not too far.
What's that?
Let's find something bad about your chart.
Yeah, let's,
Same Saturn.
let's
Yeah, I was looking, I
find
was
some
like,
source of
Danny.
suffering. Then we can laugh about
I'm joking. We don't, yeah, no. Yeah, just find the highlights, a good one.
it.
but I have one of those conjuncts that's the same degree. That's all.
Yeah, Venus, Pluto, and
Yeah,
Scorpio.
the exact same degree.
Oh, Venus.
Same minute.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's intense, jeez, yeah, especially in Scorpio.
She seems pretty happy.
deceptive.
Yeah, we don't know. We can't tell from an hour and a half on a Sunday. Somebody's a sociopath on the rest of the days of the week.
She knows. She knows more about it. I can't lie. It can't be easy.
The Jupiter and Pisces rising is really interesting.
Now that's what makes her seem so happy.
That's why you like Pisces, Jesus Pisces.
Yeah, that's that Jupiter with the light of the sun rising in its own sign. That's good nature. That that kind of person can be completely good natured in spite of the most horrible inner turmoil.
Sounds alright.
But it's part of this really intense grand square. I don't think you'll ever hold a steady job.
I know, you're totally right.
Yeah, can't do that.
But there's no major points that it's triggering in the chart. The chart of the eclipse is, there are major things happening with Saturn on top of Uranus. And Neptune connecting with your Neptune connecting with your
Okay.
rising sign, and so you're likely to have unusual visions. If it gets too bad, consider medication.
You know how they have like drunken cooking shows on YouTube? It's like drunken astrology reading. It's like, give him another drink. Moving on.
There you go.
That's demonic.
Yeah. Before he's too drunk, that would be.
Oh, you got
That
Arnie
was
there.
quite a list.
It's a plate.
Yeah, my list was.
Yeah, I'm gonna be really screwed when the Russians take over the internet.
Aren't we all?
We already have.
Mona.
Middle-aged men? Who's that? It's like bubble account.
Don't you remember the lecture on middle-aged men?
You looked
I
at
try
the
to
average
forget
search.
those.
Gone now, forever.
All right, bring it on.
That's
Ooh,
Allison.
Monica Ruth.
It's close to it's gonna affect your moon. Now, it's like 8 degrees away, but that means the lunar eclipse was
2 weeks ago?
more important 2 weeks ago, and Mars is right on top of the moon, and Mars is kind of part of this whole eclipse, and the fact that it's been so damn hot, and there's all this hatred out there.
So what does that mean for Monica, her Mars and her moon? Again, bud. Just gonna get pissed at Jimmy.
How can she avoid it? That's safe.
That's not pleasing.
And it'll have something to do with money.
Oh, now.
That's
Look at the chart.
Oh,
Look
yeah,
at
it
the
is.
chart, not the.
7 is
Well,
open.
you notice
She's in
Jupiter is with Pluto, which is her partner's weird money thing. So that's good. That'll help. And Saturn is with her grand trine that way. There's this big stability between Saturn, Uranus, and the Sun, remember, and it clicks right on her grand trine with Neptune, the moon, and yeah. So through her moon and that grand trine with Saturn and Uranus, something will happen that she will not even be aware of because it'll be completely subconscious. There will be this huge shift in orientation somewhere.
That I won't be aware
That's
of.
safe. That you won't be aware
That's
of.
safe, no one will be aware of, it'll be totally secret.
He's good. He's good. I like it.
Good, nothing too bad then.
Martha Morgan.
Oh man, I should shut up before.
Make fun of us.
I didn't make fun of anyone. I did laugh at your account, Derek, a little bit. I'd never
Sorry,
heard.
everybody who looked at my chart last week.
I never heard of this kapow. It's Batman.
Kapowie.
Kaboom!
Oh, Venus Saturn opposition, of course.
It's always Venus Saturn. I was born that way.
That's interesting.
So, doesn't somebody, oh, because I have that too.
Yeah,
What's that?
Monica has
I have
it
the
too.
Venus.
Different
Look,
signs.
at she's blissfully in love.
Yeah, you've been blissfully in love.
No, I haven't. Zero.
Sure you
Bam.
have.
Zero. Kabooey.
Oh,
Kapowsy.
I've heard about
Excuse
you being blissfully in love. You drove clear across the country to be blissfully in love. Give me a break.
That was
Lived
kind
up
of
in a
sexy
cabin in
time.
the woods to be
Okay,
blissfully
that I
in
was
love.
kind of in love.
It all comes out.
You forget a little bit.
So it's another Libra rising.
Oh, that's, there is an incredible plethora of Libra rising in this group for some reason. Katie, as well as me and you, and somebody else too.
Not me.
I know there is somebody else.
Is it Jimmy?
No.
Derek.
We'll,
Oh, I think, yeah, Derek was.
Yeah,
Were
Derek's
you
Libra
Libra
rising.
rising?
Oh,
was
yeah,
he
yeah.
the other one?
So this hits Martha's Sun Neptune conjunction in the second, so she'll lose all her money.
That's so not true. I'm gonna lose all my money and then marry someone 45 times richer than me.
Well, 40 times 0 is.
It's not at zero now.
It's
You have
also,
to hand a bill at the
it's
same
like
time.
possessions
Sorry, it's the
too,
gin.
right?
I'm sorry.
Well,
Movable possessions.
no, way of making a living.
Oh, I don't make a
Not
living.
career, but how you work with money. And she's always been in love with pirates, so I think I think there will be an opening where some new pirate will appear that'll.
Thank you, Bill. You know it. You had to say something like that. Or you have to go to some sort of home for people.
You notice Uranus is right up on her north node as this eclipse is happening, and it's stationary there, which means her whole what's coming in through the unexpected part of the universe is new and exciting, and there's something going to happen you wouldn't have been able to predict.
Whoa.
And you'll
awesome.
probably won't be aware of.
I won't even be aware of it. Monica and I will be like this. Cool.
And Pluto is right on your Mars, which is that's
I'm gonna
got
win
that's
everything.
got to do something. Maybe you'll quit getting pissed off so much.
Oh, no, I'm always raging.
It'll be transmuted into.
And transiting Venus is opposed natal Mars.
Transiting Venus.
That transiting Venus is opposed to Mars, which is a good thing. It
It
bonifies it, yeah.
Oh, good.
Does it?
Boner
It means
fire.
it will meet your opposite, but it's somebody.
Yeah. Boner fire and Venus.
Well, and Mars is in opposite square with this whole Venus-Jupiter thing, so it will be activated and vivified and bona fide.
Mars will.
Mars will, yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
good.
Which
So
is,
you may know my
which may
fight.
be your best planet. Mars is really well aspected in your chart, strong.
And there's a Chiron return.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, Chiron return. Yeah, I think that probably indicates you'll go into some war zone where you'll need a handsome
Pirate.
pirate
Steal all your
arms, an Afghan arms dealer.
Oh, my
Life's
God.
about to get really interesting.
Lots of frankincense.
Yeah. Okay. Well. Thank you, Bill. I'm looking forward to that.
Let us know how that turns out.
I will. A bona fide Venus.
There's first,
Kip, how do you have Kip on there? That's
Who's
fun.
Kip?
You asked me something about Kip one time.
No, what? You did too. Who's Kip?
Somebody
Jimmy,
I
who's
worked,
Kip?
somebody I worked with years ago at Root.
He came to a workshop when we did a 5-element workshop. He came. Now, all of us people who have late Libra rising, of course, this eclipse is sextile to it, helpful for him. And Jupiter is
whoa, right on her ascendant.
right on her ascendant.
Wow, right on it.
Jeez.
So this ain't nothing but good.
Nice, Katie.
What are you doing tomorrow?
Maybe a phone interview.
Well,
Maybe.
I think your interview is within your new Jesus.
What?
You left home at a certain point and lost Jesus, and he's about to rise again. Somebody,
man.
some powerful force is about to arise in your life that
Oh,
will
man.
take the place
Oh, Jesus.
of Jesus.
Your own Christian Jesus.
I hope that doesn't come true.
Possibly.
That's really
What
strong.
about Saturn? Isn't Saturn right there on Saturn?
Well, it's her Saturn return.
That, yeah.
Wow.
Pretty exact.
Yeah, it
And
is.
Jupiter opposition.
Wait, when's her birthday?
October.
October. Why is it? It's her Saturn return. I'm confused.
So she's
It's
like
Saturn
28,
return is when
29.
Saturn comes back to the place that it was when you were born.
Oh,
See, and it's not, I mean, the fact is, it goes back and forth over
Yeah.
that point a couple of times, usually.
I found
And
that
right
out
now,
over the
it's
last couple of
back,
years.
it's gone over it, and now it's backing up over it again. It's very close, so it's a period of time. It's the year in which you stop training for your career or what you're gonna do in life and start doing it.
That's exactly true.
Or crumble.
Or crumble,
spend
or,
more
you
Get
know,
kicked
or-
to the ground.
or
Only
go
building.
for a pilgrimage in Egypt or someplace like
Ah.
that.
Another
Drop everything and do something completely different.
I did that years ago.
Another Venus Scorpio.
Venus in the 10th.
Yeah, career stuff is really great with this, you know, because it
Wow.
replicates her natal chart. Of course, replicates the eclipse chart with this sweet connection between Venus and Jupiter on the ankles.
nice, Katie. Good job, Katie.
Nailed it.
Nailed it. Born at the right time.
Only one weird thing is this Uranus in the gonna go back over Jupiter, so there could be something intense and quick with some sort of partner that Uranian things are definitely worth doing, but oftentimes they don't last. So it will be a replication of something like that, possibly.
With the other.
Yeah. But it will, the fact that Jupiter is so strong, rising in your own sense of self, that you will, the whole thing will greatly benefit the whole course of your life. It's gonna
What
be
whole
great.
thing?
The
eclipse?
The eclipse, the eclipse. The eclipse, not everything will change during the eclipse and you'll wake up and you have a different life. But 20 years from now, you will look back at the time of the eclipse and think, oh yes, this thing changed at this time. Something that I didn't expect started and it's worked out really nice.
Fantastic.
What's the job interview?
That's for another pediatric, it's like home health with another pediatric physical therapy. I've been wanting to
John
work with this
Nadler.
company for years. So,
One kid's over. Oh my God, it's so
That's an
weird.
interesting chart, Kids Help. I
Really?
mean, that was a weird thing that happened to him.
Yeah.
What, that he had a girlfriend, that he chose a psycho girlfriend? Is that Kid Supper?
Power hungry.
Yeah. Why is that weird? I know a lot of guys that do that.
He was like a big guy on top of the world.
And he totally
He
threw away.
collapsed into nobody
So cute.
very quick.
Oh, it's like right on his north node. It's like
Jimmy.
Jimmy. Yeah.
Oh.
See, he
Look
has
at the
this. He has
Pluto.
this interesting natal condition with
Natal condition.
with the North Node and Venus and Mars. Right? Venus is in the last degree of Taurus, which is exactly square the eclipse, of course, and that's exactly square his North Node, and also overcomes his Mars, which, even though he's got a secret enemy, it's hostile. Venus makes him seem so sweet.
Is he Scorpio rising? Am I reading that
Virgo
wrong?
rising.
Wait,
Jupiter.
oh.
Jupiter. So he's got this kind of sanguine, basic personality.
Wait, show me Virgo rising.
Virgo
The
rising.
closed end.
Oh, I thought that was.
Yeah, see, that's the rising here, 5, and Jupiter
Oh.
is right there. And of course, Jupiter is not happy in Virgo. It's the odd thing about Jimmy's personality is that he actually is very much into gnosis, into the Word of God, but he acts like a Virgo. He acts like he's figuring it all out intellectually.
Well, Saturn's rising also.
Yeah, Saturn's rising also, which
Oh, I got
means
Virgo
he has
confused.
he has very strong structure in place.
is
there.
Mercury in its fall.
Mercury is in its fall. Yeah, he's got a kind of a dizzy girlfriend.
Oh.
That's the reputation of Mercury in Pisces, is kind of mystical and not sure where she
you
left
said
the keys.
mystical. Now he's,
But
he's backtracking now on that.
it all works out because Venus is at midheaven. And like,
Yeah, and
reconciles.
ameliorates everything, makes it all soft and loving.
I know. You're not at the midheavens at this moment.
But the fact that this eclipse is happening right on that whole dynamic between Venus and Mars, there could be some change, some shift in how he operates. I don't know.
Really? That'd be interesting.
Well, you also notice that Neptune is traveling on top of his Venus. Or on top of it,
Neptune.
on top of it is Mercury in the seventh.
In the seventh, right? And seventh is partners or?
Seventh is partner, partnership. And also, the public. Some clerk could get pissed off at him and screw him up, you never know. Also, it's square his natal Uranus, and that may be a generational thing. I think that's the most important thing. I mean, that's a.
I like Jupiter in the second.
Oh, yeah, Jupiter in the second.
Right next, with Pluto.
Yeah,
there.
with Pluto, which is gonna mean that his weird thing with money is gonna totally turn benevolent and work out. And
Good, I'm gonna have to ask him for a loan evidently.
One of his schemes is gonna start making real money.
Cool.
Bill thinks I have schemes.
Good time to prospect for oil.
Secret schemes that he doesn't talk about.
Great. We'll see what hijinks happen up there.
No.
What's that?
She's worried she's gonna lose her money.
Oh,
I don't know how to do anything. It can't happen.
Look what you did, Bill.
well, it'll probably totally liberate her.
Oh.
It'll just be something quick and intense with Uranus.
Yeah. Which right now kind of sounds fun.
Never. Well, he's not gonna do the whole thing, so he's really
Making
gonna have
stuff
visions
up.
of take meds, so.
It's okay.
What's
We'll
that?
keep your visions.
Oh, your visions, you're
My
like to take
visions.
beds. Yeah, wait, it says you have a crazy girlfriend. Doesn't it?
Yeah, probably.
It's okay, out there.
He does have Neptune in the seventh. That's interesting. Exactly opposite the rising point. But with a strong sextile from the Sun and Pluto. So even though she seems a bit weird, it may be workable.
Oh, there's a lot going on in Scorpio. What's going on over
Lots
there?
of everything in Scorpio in this world, in this house.
Sun Pluto. Oh, yeah. That's my favorite aspect, actually. I have suns conjunct Pluto.
Oh.
It inclines toward delusions of grandeur.
That is true. That's true.
Everybody I've ever known that has sun conjunct Pluto thought they were connected to some divine guidance that regardless of if people thought they were goofy or crazy, they're going to do what they're going to do. I've never known this one not to work.
That was time tested.
That was
Oh, man.
time tested.
That's true.
It's not that they can't learn and realize that not everybody sees them as divinely inspired as they understand that they are. They can accept the fact that the rest of the world is skeptical. But it doesn't go away. I'm afraid.
Best lecture yet. Give him another drink.
That's good.
It's that new
So transiting Venus is trine natal Venus and Mars is opposed natal Mars.
Oh, it is.
Say that again.
Transiting Venus trine natal Venus. Transiting Mars
Ah,
opposed
yeah.
natal Mars.
Yeah. Yeah, that is his natal Mars is in the range of this whole Mars thing that's going on as part of it. It's not that close. Saturn is crossing his Uranus, so he's probably not going to be as radical as usual.
For a level height.
Put a lid on it.
The major contact is with Mercury. See, it's exactly square Mercury. And actually that Mercury is in pretty good shape, so it could be a good thing. It has reception with its ruler. It's in it. It's in the sign of all the other stuff that's going on, and it has a sextile from the moon. So it gives this. He could figure things out. The fact, pilgrimage is nice. Jupiter shoots a ray back to bonify this whole stellium, and it's in its own sign. Now Neptune is going over it. Which I'm sure will cause perfectly delightful visions.
Perfectly delightful visions.
Yeah, the main thing that whatever Mercury is doing in the chart is going to be triggered by. That's the main thing that's triggered by. Should we do Kristen? Okay. Should we do Ben?
A quick one.
So if a transit is opposed to your natal, like so my Mars is, does that, create strength or kind of like balance?
No, say that again.
So with Mars opposing my natal Mars, would you expect that to be like kind of a nullifying force or balancing or strengthening, or you know what I mean? Like, how would you describe that kind of? I'm not really.
I don't either. More than likely it will be something involving conflict or fights, just gets triggered. How it'll turn out, I think, is, for me, I'm not that skilled. But it could start some kind of, or make conflict a bigger aspect of your life. Don't join any army.
I wasn't planning on it.
And
I tried to talk people out of it before.
What?
Antifa.
Antifa.
Don't join
I'm
Antifa.
not
Yeah,
interested.
Don't join
Any of those
Don't join
signs of
any
anything.
of them. Any
Just
of
likes
them big
intellectual
groups
fights.
of people with clubs, shields.
That's never worked out for me.
Don't join those guys. And yeah, avoid that old bit. Just purely mechanically, in terms of the working of astronomy, interesting odd things that happen astronomically. Ben's chart is really quite interesting that way, because the eclipse is happening right on his moon, and it involves Mars being almost in the same place that it was when he was born, and Jupiter being almost in the same place that it was when he was born. So in spite of the fact that there is a shock, the moon being God, your subconscious mind, the way that the bigger universe communicates with you, there will be a shock and an opening, so he will see how his lunar mind works in a very dramatic way, and at the same time its involvement with Mars, which in his chart is co-ruler, one would say, with Venus, and is greatly aided in his natal chart by this sextile with Jupiter, which is being replicated. So whatever help he gets from Jesus with his warlike tendencies will be actualized as the result of what begins during this period. Saturn with Neptune, so his tendency to seek visions may not be as dangerous.
Mercury on the midheaven.
Is that all of us have that?
Oh, yeah, so yeah, this weird thing that's happening between Mercury and Neptune is happening right on his midheaven icy axis, his up to down. And Uranus is making ideas come into his head faster than he probably can comfortably assimilate.
Wow.
There's a trine by sign for Venus.
Venus to
Natal Venus.
natal Venus, yeah, that's good. That's very good.
Okay. I'm still not leaving the house.
I think that's probably smart.
Apparently that's what all the Vedic astrologers say. Go inside and do spiritual practice.
Yeah, that's what it said on the interweb today, was that the Vedic astrologers said, don't go out and look at an eclipse. That can really screw up your eyes.
What about Krista?
She was not into it.
Oh, not
Probably because I'm drunk and irreverent and just say something stupid. That would not
Every
be helpful.
Sunday, I don't know why it's any different.
Do you have Mueller's chart?
Mueller?
Isn't he the special investigator?
Oh, no, I haven't seen his chart.
That'd be interesting.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
James Comey too.
What about Bannon?
I would like to look
He
at
was the
Bannon's
spawn of
chart.
Satan, so you could, I don't even know if he has a chart.
I'm gonna go with this substitute king theory.
The what?
Well, the fact that the Great White Brotherhood, while it does not often interfere in our mundane affairs, just because it just makes things worse to try to make things better for the most part, because there's yin-yang in this plane of existence. Everything that starts good is going to become bad. So the stronger it is good, the stronger it becomes bad. So you got to be careful about mucking around in human political affairs. But it would make sense to, if there was going to be a major shift in how people saw and understood executive power and this kind of elevation of the presidency to someone who's a kind of a king. If indeed that is going to come down, what better way to do it is to stick some clown like Trump in there as a substitute king and let him take the hit.
You're saying Bannon's one of the masters of wisdom?
I don't think so, but he may be a tool. He may well be a tool. It's
Paid
hard to know.
mercenary for the masters of wisdom.
He does have a very interesting history, you know, he
Yeah.
seriously
Biodome.
studied all of this shit back
Yeah.
in the day.
I thought he was a charlatan. Like, he never really was a director. Like, no, all the things he says he did, he over.
He was in charge of
I heard his
Biodome
bio.
too.
I know he got
Maybe
asked
he's a
to
shark.
leave.
Maybe he's just a fake now. Like everything he professes is totally fake and it's a total manipulation. Like you said, like he had to get Trump elected.
I don't know. A year ago, he said that Trump would be elected, and he would be in the White House, and he wouldn't last past August.
He said that?
A year ago.
Wow.
Yeah. He's a smart dude.
Well, he said he orchestrated his exit for August, and then the Charlotte thing happened, so now it looks like it's because of that. But he had already given his thing August 7th.
Well, and now he can
Right.
say what he really thinks, and everybody's interested in what we're forcing.
Yeah, that's why he didn't try to make, they're like, oh, he didn't have political allies or whatever. He didn't have any intention of doing that in the White House, you know? I don't think, whatever.
What were you gonna say, Mom?
I was gonna ask if somebody was telling me that the trash isn't coming.
Oh.
No, the trash is not
I
coming
thought it would be
tomorrow,
something
it's coming
deep and
Tuesday.
esoteric, and you're like, is the trash coming from?
And they didn't take the recycling money apparently.
The large intestine
Is that right?
Again?
Yeah, because apparently, I mean, this is our guess, is that they need to be on the curb and they have to be spaced 4 feet apart, or they won't take it.
Yeah, because the machines can't pick them up.
What? Ours I've never spaced ours more than a foot apart.
That's
This is what the
our
website
theory,
says.
in any case, they didn't take the recycling.
Is
Is
the
it
recycling
commingled
people coming tomorrow?
in a way that, what's that?
The recycling is coming tomorrow?
Nobody's coming tomorrow.
They
The
National
apocalypse is
holiday, huh?
coming.
What's coming?
There's,
throw
the
the trash out
National
in the
Guard
yard.
is gonna need to be called in to
That's right,
restore
they're coming in for
order.
the crowds.
Because there will be no food or water, and gas will suddenly, nobody will be able to fill their tank.
for some reason. The Eclipse
Bad day
will
for
cause
solar power. too.
all navigation to go haywire.
I was all talking big about having two drinks.
Plus Mercury's representatives had one.
Yeah.
But we'll be
So
able to
there will
see
be no
that.
cell service.
Maybe you
Do
were.
you want any potatoes or a salad?
So we won't know what's happening.
Potatoes?
Then get ready.
There's just a bucket of potatoes.
A bucket of
The whole
potatoes?
bucket.
I don't
It's
think
not a
so.
bucket, it's just like 8.
Mars. Mars. Oh, yeah, yeah. It is Venus. Yeah.